Opposed to Ellen Quayle.
I don't like Babe Ruths.
How about Butterfingers?
I do like Butterfingers, but the problem is I like them too much.
Okay.
I
just had one. Great.
I know, it's that peanutty sweetness.
Yeah.
And the problem is you have 1, 2, 3. Part of me feels sick afterwards because of all the sugar.
Yeah.
We got a picture. Let's see if
Oh, you got pictures? So we're both live. But he beat you by 500 milliseconds. What happened to your picture? So how are you doing now?
I got the picture going through. Let's see if in a few more seconds it goes through for the stream.
Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Well, yeah, that's the. See, we put them in the center or just to the sides.
I mean, I took a look at the changes that were made.
Just in case. So they have room to stand there, like they're presenting.
Okay.
Perfect.
All he needs is Carol. Let me check on her.
That's why I think and then the shop mall floor, you have all the cheese. Pick from the cheese and the basement and have all the
Carol, are you close? Oh, you're here. Yeah, we're just waiting for you to rock and roll. We'll see ya. She says she's here, so she must be downstairs.
Like Italy, like
James, this is all your stuff, right?
Yes,
Right here? Okay.
yes.
No problem. Sorry, just wanna treat you.
Do we have success or no? Go try to pump it out. How about Alan? Is he set up or no? Hey, Carol, how you doing?
Hey, you. What's
Good to
up?
see you. Nothing much. I
So
got
this-
audio, but I'm working on video, so yeah.
So this is being used or not being used?
This is being
Let's
used.
see if this
This?
works.
This?
Maybe you brought us live,
Unless
Professor
that
Carol.
replaces this. Wait till Ellen comes back.
I'm just thinking we need a couple more, another chair over here somewhere.
Oh, grab a chair here and pull it around.
Okay.
Well, that's why I asked if this is being used.
Alan didn't put a chair there, so he didn't intend to sit. There's a place for you to sit here, though. Here's your note taking.
That's,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Well, that's actually my note
That's
taking, but
Warren.
you can.
No, no, that's
This
okay.
morning, okay.
This Warren, no, this Warren. Let's give me, why don't we bring me that
Just
chair?
bring him over there.
I'll promise to knock over the camera. How's
I just
that?
want you to be able to see though.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll tighten up over there.
Tighten. All right, we'll be close to it. Oh.
Okay, here's some additional paper. There you
All right. Now grab a pen.
go. Do you have a pen?
Did you get a chance to look at the cover?
Oh, yeah.
It looks okay.
Looks fine. And double check the program. I think we're ready to duplicate it. 175 copies tomorrow.
I'm gonna make the, as soon as we get done here, I'll start sending, I figure it's okay that you're.
Hey, Carol,
Yes.
this team back here wants you to register.
There's a
Oh, I gotta register.
name and
He just wants some of your personal
personal
valuable
data.
personal data.
There you go. I think it's too. We got enough paper here, Carol.
Yeah, I got enough paper here. Or I had enough paper here. I just got some of it stolen.
Yeah, I just don't two of your sheets.
I started with enough paper. You ready? So we don't have a team that's ready yet, or we're just gonna ask, right?
Oh, yeah, I was just checking whether, are we live streaming here as well?
He still hasn't gotten it working.
He had it and then he lost it.
So we're gonna, let's use you.
Oh, wait a minute. Are you live streaming now?
No. Still trying.
Let's go in here.
Let's go. And it's just, are you using this?
If I get it going, I'll just pump it out.
So this is just doing side shots.
Okay.
So we have some recorded content because in case some of the, we get TADHack and one of the sponsors wants to edit it up, then we have two recorded camera angles. We just need to be careful not to bang it.
Maybe 3 recorded camera angles if everything works well.
I know, not the audio on that one I'm a little worried about, but that's all we can do.
So just ask for volunteers, is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah, I was just going to explain the process.
Go.
I'm gonna double this until he gets
Okay, let's get going. So, who wants to be first? Go on. No, you're not ready, even though you got all the judges' names, addresses, social security numbers, you're going to hold back.
We want to hold back.
Ask
Come on down.
I'm
That'll
gonna
be
say
great.
ask who wants to be last and make them go first.
That is cruel and unusual punishment.
The last shall be first and the first shall be last. Someone said that, remember?
Someone said that, yeah.
But anyway, I'll hand over to you, so just give your pitch.
All right. Mine is easy. Ours is easy, so that's why I wanted to get it finished.
And all I ask is that you speak up to make sure we can capture you on the audio, because that's the most important thing.
Okay.
Video is secondary, audio is primary.
Okay, that's right. Okay, ours is so much simple actually. My name is Pankaj, this is Vinod, and we have other 3 team members which are not present at the moment. But what we were trying to build is a simple web app which is called Weightless. Basically what it does is, especially it was designed for like country like England where they have a open they don't have a medical system the way we have it, so it's like paid by government, so people pay through their taxes, so people go to the clinic and they get treatment. It was getting overcrowded, so what they started doing is like walk-in clinics in the morning, like they started 8 a.m. to 12 or 1 p.m. And as people were getting more patients were going there, the wait time was getting longer and longer and longer. So basically, person can go like 10, 11 o'clock, and you might have to wait for like 3 hours, which is definitely annoying for everybody. You don't want to wait there. So what we were trying to create is if the patient can register or look before he even goes to the clinic, visit the clinic, according to the location, where you can see the live wait time, how long it is. And if it is okay, then you can log in, register, send a request to the clinic accept the request and send it back via text message. That's where we were trying to, Epiphanica, we were trying to use that one to communicate while when the time comes close, like for example, if he's living 10 minutes away from the clinic, 30 minutes left, send a notification, hey, time is getting close if you want to leave and go to the clinic. So that's what it was we were trying to use. Another thing, like when he goes to a doctor sees and like they want to send a prescription, you know. So if the patient doesn't have to carry the prescription, you can send straight to the pharmacy, so you can save a time over there. That's where we were trying to use proxy. So I mean, like that's the API we're trying to use both of them. So basically, it's like try to save time and like same as usual. Today we don't have the time enough and like getting upset about like sitting in the waiting area for 3-4 hours. So this is what it was. We could not finish our whole project, so we don't have anything to demo. But our idea was that, so this is what we are.
Excellent.
Cool, thank you.
Software, JavaScript. I mean, like we were trying to use
Angular, JavaScript, and Iron Java. It's like J2E.
Did you use any
Who's resources?
resource?
Who's developer, who's sponsor resources?
Sponsor is also
California and Fexio.
Fexio.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Excellent. Thanks so much, guys.
Okay, so who wants to be? Come on down, guys. So if you don't worry, just get yourself set up. Once you're comfortable, then start presenting, okay? Because by the magic of editing, this all looks cool in the end, okay?
Just as a reminder, Tom's going to be flashing you a signal, so just so you know. Yeah.
1 minute, 30 seconds, and then you'll hear the
Did we go over?
buzzer go off.
No, you didn't.
I didn't see the sign.
Then we get the hook up.
Yeah,
Then we get the-
I knew you guys weren't looking, that's why I announced it, so to make sure you were fine.
Because the live stream is sort of, turn that round, flip that round. That's it, so if you could stand, I know it's going to be a bit awkward, but standing in front of, that's it, between the table and the TV, it'll be easier. There you go. Perfect. You're in, you're good. Oh no. You're over. Let's see, yeah.
Be careful of the machine, though.
Yeah. Can I move this?
Sure, absolutely.
There you go.
You okay?
Okay, that's looking good. Thanks, guys. Once you're ready, just go for it, okay?
So when you start.
Okay.
All right. So our hack is called I Attended. Okay. So the main issue that we're kind of trying to tackle is that shopping can be very inconvenient and very, very time consuming. So sometimes you may say, okay, I'll just buy it online. But then sometimes, as you can see here, the expectation does not match the reality. And then there's other people who don't go shopping often, and when they do, they expect something to be of high quality. So you may want an attendant or some high service. And basically, there's others of us that just don't like people. So why would we want to talk to one? So this is kind of a walkthrough of the tools that we're going to be using, which is Amazon Developer. So basically, we use Alexa, and we customize her to basically fulfill whatever needs they require. So you'll build your skills, you'll be able to see different sections and departments, and you can take it away to the next slide. Oh, just a video, sorry. So the video basically is kind of like a demo of what we hope to implement in the future. So the attendant brings the t-shirt to the customer.
Hey Alexa,
Hello, Ikram.
this shirt is not my size. Can you bring me a medium?
Oh, I see. Alberto will bring you a medium size.
was just a very demo of how it could work. This solution actually is based on two sponsors, Telestex and Temasys, or we work with them. Our idea would be to complete that with these two companies. Well, what we use is Alexa Pi. It's an open source project, and we installed that on our Raspberry Pi. We just set up some skills in Amazon, and what we had two options. One was sending messages to the attendant for letting him know when to go to bring a t-shirt of a specific size or color or wherever the client needs. And the other option was using Temasys for adding the video call functionality, or if they want to place a call from this Raspberry Pi to the attendant. So with using this, we will be able to reduce the amount of obviously attendance in a store, and also shopping racks. We would be faster attending the customers. So yeah, this is pretty much it.
Another thing we would like to add to this is just the shopping mall as a whole. We would have Amazon Web Services, and then using Amazon Developer, we will have a conversationalist bot, and then that will be in intersections of the mall where people can go to it and it can navigate where the shops are for them. So this will replace directories and maps across the malls. And then you can talk to it like talking to any other normal person, like where is the children's place, and then it will tell you where it is, and you can just go there.
And that concludes our presentation of our project. Thank you.
Any questions? None from the sponsors? Not even a thank you for the branding there? I'm going to enjoy showing this to Chip. Okay, that was great. Again,
Nice job.
Good.
Okay, so who wants to be next? Go for it. And yeah, just you're between the TV and the table in terms of positioning so you can see it.
How much are they paying to wear that Franklin shirt for that product placement?
Not paying me anything. It was definitely worth it.
What's Franklin?
Barbecue in Austin. Really? One of them. Okay.
He refuses to make a second one.
So he has a lot of firm names.
Many firm.
You got the right dongle?
No, I don't.
Oh.
But
What do you need?
I don't know how to smoke it, but like replace it.
Display port to VGA or something?
Oh, just hang a sec. You've got lightning there?
oh, it was up to that.
That works.
Yeah, we'll get you there. Don't worry.
VGA?
As I said, we'll edit it so it looks like you just. There you go.
Aha.
Let that be video, kind of.
You got it?
It's still working.
My name is Dan Morgan. I'm the only person on my team. What I've created is called Helper. And Helper is had a couple of it's meant to supplement a Red Cross type organization in terms of during a natural disaster, where services may or may not be exist or tough to come by. So essentially, It uses SMS. It's using the API Monica SMS thing with a machine learning capability to this. So during a natural disaster, you probably may not have a great sense of what's going on, so you might be mistyping and things of that nature. It hits something called API.ai, which is a machine learning natural language capability of this. So you can type in a bunch of things, it goes through a normalization of API.ai, and then it will send information back to the other SMS, the helper, the person who's going to be giving help. Because of the nature of the API, I had to kind of create a web interface that emulates an SMS conversation. But, so we type in help me, and what ends up happening is that it goes through SMS message is created and sent. Unfortunately, because of the nature of the API right now, you can't get it, so I fake it. But it will pinpoint where you are, and this is the JSON response coming back from API.ai. So it just says help me, which is kind of a generic, call for help. So in the natural language processing, I actually kind of parse out what's going on in our responses. What is the nature of the problem? It is meant to facilitate a conversation so that the people providing help, that will be providing help, will have all the information that they need. Because of the nature of this browser, I can grab the GPS information. If this is on our phone, I can grab it there. But it's like I need help. The next question might be like, where are you located? It might also be like, what's the nature of the problem? And this is meant to kind of prioritize response efforts. If you're hungry, that's one thing. If your house is on fire, it's another thing. So it prioritizes. It's meant to prioritize response efforts. So higher things get better, and the reason why those maps are there is that it will optimize a route for providing the widest possible.
Cool.
Any questions for Dan? No? Any judges over there? You good?
I'm good, yeah.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Dan. That was great. Nice and clear. Thanks a lot. Okay, who wants to be next? We're racing through these. This is great. Come on, guys. Don't be shy. You want to go? Come on down, guys.
Oh, we have 5 minutes is what I believe.
Yeah, 5 minutes, yes.
And he's gonna-
As soon as you start talking, I'll begin.
And
But
then
you get ready first.
Yeah,
Set
just
up.
get yourself set up. And you have to be on the, It's a little difficult, but you want to be, because you out of camera shot, unfortunately, so if you huddle in the middle here rather than over there, it helps us. We just take this back maybe a bit more.
This will be 1 minute and this will be 30 seconds left and the audio won't be beat.
Before we start, if you guys can all have your phones, so that'll be fine. You're not started with.
When you're ready.
Yeah, just hang a sec. I'm just trying to get you. No problem. It's on.
We probably just have to hit return, don't you? Or
You connected, yeah?
function of
Well, I can tell you what your problem is. It's a PC. You can see the PC figures, man. 5 minutes for boot up time is perfectly acceptable.
Not driving the monitor.
Nope.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, no worries.
No, I don't have.
I know, but you will have.
You got VGA.
I just have a USB-C.
Oh.
It's
Okay, no worries. I mean, just try again.
Okay. Yeah.
Or if you
Is
could
this like
use
a
somebody else's
command?
laptop.
Yeah, we'll just get somebody else's laptop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries. Well, give it another. Just give it another go. Give it another go. You're rushing. Just relax. Now,
They're a lot higher.
I know. Now, is there a key?
Yeah, function F.
What do you need?
F5, function F5, hit that or F7, function F7,
Yeah, one of them.
to drive it, yeah. But the old beast, you gotta drive it,
Yep.
it's not auto detect.
First the non-function.
There you go.
It's not detected as a
It's not. Okay.
Function F5.
we'll just get
Okay, no problem. Yeah. So,
If you could
no
have
problem.
somebody's email ID and their laptop, that'll be great.
So, do we have another willing volunteer? It's your turn now. Come on, Dad.
Cable?
Into Google Docs.
Okay. What did you need? Is it cable?
Oh, yeah, we need HDMI.
HDMI.
VGA?
No, HDMI.
So we kind of got a lot
HDMI?
through our computers.
There's cables over it.
This cable.
So 18 years
He's got a Mac too.
I saw it somewhere.
Don't go too far though.
No, just hit it when you're ready.
Well, it was.
You need to watch. You're judging.
Come back, John.
I know it's over here.
Oh, he's got it. All right.
You got the right dongle now?
No, this is not them.
Different.
Here you go. Try this, there's HDMI. There's HDMI on this side. Try that. Make sure you get it there.
So I have a
Famous
USB.
last.
Not gonna work. Here, this is, here.
Yeah.
There's HDMI one. Another dongle.
We're inheriting.
I think that one came from sitting at there. And this one was sitting over there. For Carol and I were there.
So we're ready if y'all are.
Ready.
Okay.
Yeah, speak up.
All right. Hello everybody, we're Virgil. We are a smarter emergency management platform for decision-making support using machine learning and real-time communication. I'm Alex Cordover.
I'm Alberto Rios.
So the motivation for our project is that you've heard it in the news. There's currently poor emergency decision-making due to lack of information on the ground and what we call the human element. So we propose a two-faceted solution. First, get decision makers the information that they need to make good decisions. And second, use mathematics to optimize scarce resource allocation. We hacked on three sponsor technologies, Telestacks, Telnix, and Fax.io. We'll go through kind of their contributions to each of the to our project. Other core technologies, we built out a custom API to support each of the three sponsored technologies, and this is a Docker Compose-based deployment, so it's immediately scalable. You can kind of see our Telestack sequencing here, but at a very high-level overview, volunteers and managers sign up for the service. On-the-ground information gets transmitted into the system. We compute scores for each region and allocation, use simulated annealing to optimize the resource distribution, and finally redistribute that information back to the people who need it. A quick overview on the allocation optimization. We kind of came up with our own cost function and our own machine learning approach. The cost function is defined in terms of proposed allocation, social vulnerability information from the CDC, live on-the-ground information, and disbursement cost. We want to keep resources close to vulnerable areas. So let's go through a demonstration. That is not on the screen. So we will do this. So you can see the platform right here. You can see that we currently have computed the optimal resource allocation for a variety of different places. That's shown in our heat map right here. Now, at the very beginning, we asked quite a few of y'all to submit your information. You can see all of you have populated into our database right here. Now, what happens, now we're in the middle of a disaster, what happens if you're on the ground? We're going to submit an assessment. You can submit an assessment in 3 ways. First, you can do it through the web. Second, you can submit it through through messaging. And third, through call. Both of those are supported by Telestacks. Now, as he goes through the process of
Yeah, I just sent that latest text right now.
this latest text right here is from him, Alberto Rios. You can see the timestamp right here. And then, as he goes through the process of calling, this will update again. You'll see another assessment.
So this name field actually uses a Telnex like caller ID API. So that's how we can get like people's information. Like not everyone has caller ID like enabled, but I obviously do.
So you can see voice and SMS have populated. That gives us more information with which to optimize our resource allocation. So now that we've submitted an assessment, we are currently running a cron job to kind of optimize this on the fly. So one of the good things about simulated annealing is that it'll optimize on the fly. We get continuous updates of resource allocations. And so as more people give us more information, we can be more sure about what the best place to put the resources put the resources are. So now, let's say that we've just had at some point in this, since it's running on a 2-minute cycle, we have updated these resource allocations. We're going to send out a blast through email, fax, phone, and text. Fax particularly because we're working with governments, and we all know what governments are like. So we're going to send out a blast, and
So now all of our judges and people that we ask for information should be getting stuff right now.
Yep. And so while that happens, you should all be checking your phones. He's
Got a
getting
phone call?
We can just
Now
kind
everyone's
of,
up. Get 'em. That's an email right there. That's a text right there.
Yep.
And we do send out faxes as well. So if we look at the Faxio, dashboard.
and everybody is getting their calls and emails right now. So if we look at the Faxio dashboard really quick, we can see that the number has gone from 14 to 24 faxes. We've sent out faxes to everybody who was populated in the system. Some things we might want to do in the future. We've looked at, last night we kind of looked at neural networks for damage assessment. That was something a little bit beyond the scope, but ideally we'd be able to video some video damage, upload it, and then use that as information to further remove the human element. So that's Virgil.
Excellent.
Hey.
All right. Questions, comments, concerns?
Where do you see this, being, can this be something like a crowdsourced type thing, or open, where you have it on the internet where everybody can go?
Right, so we were playing around with that idea kind of in our heads. On the one hand, we want to keep the information as high quality as possible, so maybe limit it specifically to emergency managers. But on the other hand, crowdsourced information is so valuable at this point, I feel like that could also be useful with the right registration.
I got my boat and it's right here, right? Okay.
Right. The one thing we were worried about is everybody's going to see their situation as kind of worse than somebody else's, and so the more trained a response is, which is why we were interested in using neural networks for direct damage assessment, remove the human element further, but we just want to make sure we're getting high quality information to do the optimizations.
My house is flooding, sure, you got 3 inches or 8 feet, right?
Right.
Huh.
Any other questions?
I need to take this dog.
Yeah, if we were to continue with this, have you guys thought through how you might approach filtering the alerts in order to relevant people and
Right,
reducing
so
spamming and also
right, obviously
battery power, blah, blah.
not everybody has a fax, not everybody wants emails, so in the registration you should be able to choose how you receive your alerts and go back and...
Oh, sure, sorry, but I mean even in terms of, for example, that, volunteers are broken up into teams and,
right, I understand what you're saying.
bringing
So, yeah, ideally we would want to use geolocation information to send targeted updates to people who are on the ground in that area. That's actually why we asked people to put in their zip code. In a future iteration of this, we would ask people, or we would only target people who are near a near an optimization change to move or to that a resource allocation improvement had been calculated. So there is, we do very much support that. The other thing that we support is this is already nationwide. We have all the data from all over the nation. We just used Alabama and Mississippi for demonstration purposes, but this is equally applicable everywhere a disaster may strike.
Sorry, I was filming and doing 6 things at once. What's the time frame on the real-time communication as far as lag or anything for?
So you saw the fields populate as soon as he made the call in the text. You saw people get the update almost as soon as we hit the update field. The only thing that takes a little bit longer is the actual simulated annealing process, but as long as that's on a central server, which it is, it's behind a custom API right now. As long as that's in a central server, it won't take more than a couple of seconds, and then that allocation gets distributed to the people who, or the information about the allocation gets distributed to the people who need it, who need to make decisions, etc.
Perfect. Excellent. Thanks so much,
Cool.
guys.
Yeah.
Great. Come on then. Are you guys sorted now? So you'll be ready?
Yeah, we're sorted out.
Okay, so you go on next. Okay. Sorry.
That's all right.
Hey everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. A bunch of awesome projects coming up. I hope you guys think ours awesome as well. The name of our project is Inform Me. My team members are here. We have some more team members that are sitting out in the back. Well, I'm just going to go straight into it. So the next slide. So what the project we are doing is a way of communicating with people that are near you. So something is going on nearby, you want to get the message out to as many people as you can that are near you that you may not possibly know. So it's based on some GPS calculations, based on where you at, and some other things that I'm not going into detail now. I save all the fun stuff for later. So I did my partner to take over.
Okay, so how does it work? So we're trying to communicate here through a range. So in this way, we can communicate the text through creating a message. Then we specify the range that we want. If we want just the neighborhood, we want a bigger like the bigger part of the neighborhood to know. And we select a category. And then we are able to inform the things that we want. For example, we have the categories like emergency, suspicion, social, and advertisement. Now, what is emergency? For example, if something really bad happens and you need to communicate that to everybody, then you use the emergency situation. In that case, most of the people which are able to receive the categories, for example, if you want to receive the emergency categories, then people will be able to know that you're in an emergency, receive the message, and be able to help or call whoever is necessary. The suspicion, for example, you see someone that is trying to get into a car, and then but you don't know if the person's that's the person's car, right? So what you do is that you throw a suspicion. So therefore, everybody gets the message. The neighbors are able to know if that person is from that car or not, and they're able to react to see if that person should be in that car or not. And social, for example, you want to get into a gathering, but you're not able to get all the messages out, and you want to do it as soon as possible. Then, for example, for a barbecue, if you want to get everybody in the neighborhood around, then you set a social event. And for advertisement, for example, you are in a very small Kmart that you created for yourself, you work real hard on, and then for example, you want people that are around to know that you have specials, that you are better than other places. So then you pass around, and you're able to, in that area, in that range, you're able to send the special message. These are advertisements which you can also opt out of. So if you don't want to be spammed by every single market, you can get out of it. So, go ahead.
So, who is this for? Well, this is for everyone. It's for the young, the old, the adults. If you're a young person and you want to go play soccer, you want to play basketball, and you don't want to go by yourself, You don't want to make a whole Facebook event just to go play basketball. Take out your phone. Want to go play basketball at the park. Everybody with a cell phone, they can get a text message. Get the message. You want to have a barbecue. You only want your neighborhood to come. You don't care about anyone else. Send a message out to the people that are nearby. Hey guys, I'm having a barbecue. Come help me out. If something happened to you and you need somebody to come change your light bulb, or you failed and you need somebody to help you out, you can hit the button. Hey, can someone come help me? So this app is for everyone.
And how big is it? So for example, this is for all businesses too. For the small business, you can notify what makes you special. For the medium business, you can notify what are your specials. And for the big business, you can create market events. These events can be notified for everybody.
All right, so we talked about this a lot. How about we give you guys a nice demonstration of how the app would work and look. So first thing is that you want to log in. You want to log in with your email address. So add something, and I put in my password and I sign in. Now, suppose I want to play League of Legends. I type in "Let's play League of Legends," and since this is a social event, I would hit social, and then everyone around will get that text message. So we all should be getting messages pretty soon. But while we wait on that, for the sake of time, oh, and there go my text message. So for the sake of time, we would end our presentation here. Is there any questions?
Thank you.
Question. Okay. You know, you're saying, okay, you know, you're going to get people, you know, on your block to sign up for this, right? I mean, that's what you really want to do. Then you're going to invite merchants and everything like that. But it's a community. But you know, is it, you know, how do you make the geo boundaries around the community that you want to use it all?
So what happens is, it's not more of a, you hope that it be used in the community, but it's still based on some type of GPS. So the app has your latitude and longitude. That gets sent to a database. Once it goes to the database, the server picks up, oh, a new record came in. Or based on other users that are around that location, based off the radius that you preset, those people will get the message. So assuming you're already doing events where you live at, then your community will be the one that you frequently talk to.
Thank you.
I didn't catch what sponsor resources you used there.
Oh, that's the last slide.
Oops.
Here.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I didn't see anything else.
Other stuff.
Make sure, because people are watching video, live even, whatever, to repeat a question if somebody asks, because nobody can hear probably from the back. Different areas. Thank you.
There you go. When you're ready.
Okay, ready. Good afternoon. Our project is called the ARMA by the guys in the shops.
That's me.
So what are we addressing? Is we're a disaster relief system supply chain optimization problem. So I personally seen the wrath of two of these natural calamities. I'm from India, so in 2004 I was in Chennai when the tsunami happened, and we could feel the like the aftershock of the Gujarat earthquake. So we've been there, so we know what like the panic which sets in and stuff. So we wanted to build something which addresses the disasters, and we wanted to focus on like food distribution. We took our inspiration from the Netherlands food bank problem, and we built our problem, like we built our solution taking into those guidelines. So how did we do this? So we took an example of Florida. We created a simulated data set. We scraped all the possible public schools of Florida and we set them as distribution centers because they're big and they're well equipped. And we created a safety stock optimization / load balancing system. And the parameters we chose, we created some of the parameters to simulate the most real situation as possible. We chose like the population distribution in counties, then we clustered each population distribution into like a bigger chain. Like we had smaller nodes connected to distribution centers and we clustered them by distance. And we had like days to food exhaustion. We set like a amount of food, is like 1 unit of food, what we set was like as 3 meals for a particular person in a day. And then we looked at the storage capability of these centers, like bigger school have bigger storages, smaller school have smaller storages. And we actually hand wrote and we formed our own variable called the priority score, where we had to assign food to in the distribution centers. And we wanted to keep this simple as simple and stupid as possible. So how our framework worked, and we accepted the challenge. And how our framework worked was, we used a really simple, we used telestacks to send messages about the area and the number of people in your household. And we used the optimization, predictive analytics and load balancing to distribute our resources in between our clusters, which will be going into deeply like next. And we use Faxio to actually send out instructions to distribution centers on what resources to allocate where.
Just so that you guys understand it, Telestacks is what we're using to get the input data set when this thing actually goes live. We can use that to actually get the real-time data to understand the real-time demand on a daily basis. People would just have to say the number of people in their household and it would go into our backend and it would get into our database. But for today, we couldn't get that many data sets in one day.
So we had to simulate
simulated data, but we have the infrastructure for Telestacks already.
Yeah. So what we did was, after 8 cups of coffee, we ended up building this program. So the aspect ratio is a little bad. So what you can see here, this is the input data which goes in.
Every time you guys send a text
you can send a text message right now to the number we'll provide as soon as the presentation is over, and you can you have to send. I am from area code like area, the set area, and my household number of people in my household, and it will give instructions at the end of the day to the distribution centers. Please allot this much quantities of food from this particular center to this particular center. And
just to explain what we are addressing, next slide. This particular graph is supposed to be the heat maps of how bad there's scarcity in food.
In each food.
So this is before we process the data, and as you can see, there are a few red points which show that there is the exhaustions. It might happen in the next few days. So that we're trying to say before we processed our load, the data was looking bad, and there are a few distribution centers which might run into the risk of having no food at all soon. And we used optimization and we used our own algorithm to make sure the load is distributed even. And can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So what happens is the instructions are sent to the distribution managers who will say distribute food from this center to this center to make it even more balanced. And now we represent the same heat map with the updated load, and you can see the color red.
Days of the exhaustion has increased here. They have more time, and the priority score also decreases.
Yeah.
And moving on to scope, so we wanted to use the Telestacks back to send out mass messages to people about where to go find food. We actually wanted to like optimize even the quantity of food being sent. Now we're sending in regular chunks, saying it's 1 free, but if you could optimize it to the extent of how many boxes you could send, it would be better and forecasted. We also implemented the failsafe with Faxios, and the data set itself. Here's also a challenge, because we don't have the data sets for these kind of situations. We had to manufacture ourselves, and a real data set would give us better results. And we also wanted to include one thing we forgot, we didn't include because of the time frame in this particular challenge was transportation costs, and is it possible to transport. So we want to implement that in our next system.
Yep.
Thank you.
Great.
In closing, the email sent out to info@TADHack.com.
Yeah,
We're
so
going to take a look at the report.
we have sent an email of like the program executed, and it sent distribution like instructions to the email at TADHack, and you can text one number we can hand out, and it'll keep updating.
Okay.
Cool.
Any questions, guys?
Your data set itself, you said you're going to use elementary schools?
No, not elementary schools. So we collected the data of all the schools possible in Miami, and depending on the size of the schools, we also set up that the storage spaces also differs in the same way. If the school size is around, it can hold 1,000 people, we say the storage of the school, total storage capacity of the school is much higher. So we had to make that assumption.
Thank you.
That was great. Thanks, guys. So I think it's just 3 more to go. So over to AI Collab next. I think that's a nice one with facts. In an emergency situation,
No,
Faxio
sent instructions and tells facts to be in the input to the data.
Hi everyone, I'm Abhishek.
Carol,
are you guys ready?
Right.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Abhishek. So I made a platform for doctors to collaborate, and it is basically a surgery planning platform. These are my sponsors, the products that I've used. So why I'm doing it? So if you see for us developers, we have GitHub, but for doctors, there's no GitHub. They cannot send codes, they cannot send MRIs, they cannot talk to other guys. Okay, how do you crack such a difficult surgery? So that's the basic goal. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make a GitHub for doctors. And why I'm doing it? So let's say there's a surgery of 8 hours. It requires, actually I've mentioned the research paper as well, 16 hours of planning, which means like bunch of doctors need to sit down on a table and need to talk how to go about the surgery. So I'm giving an online platform to talk to them remotely from anywhere, any part of the world. What it helps is, it helps the time optimization and reduce the waiting time of the surgeries. Secondly, it helps global and local collaboration. So let's say there's a doctor sitting in India, Europe, US, they can come together and they can share the experience about removing a tumor. What should be the path to cut the tumor? And so on. And since right now there's so many CRMs which are in healthcare industry, there's no one which talks to different CRMs, as well as they allow doctors to talk or have a video discussion. So this is it. The business model, so first of all, there's no one in the communication of doctors around the world. Secondly, medical is an $18 trillion industry in the US, so it's a catchy thing to focus on. So if all the ACOs try to like get this product on their systems, it'll like huge bunch of money. Second is, I'm using some deep learning and machine learning techniques to reduce the waiting time. How I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to club the surgeries. So let's say there's a patient A with cancer of some type is having a similarity with some other cancer of some other guy in India. Oh, they can say, we can use the similar procedures, or we can use some similar ideas of surgery. Secondly, more surgeries means more patients means more revenue. And finally, it's like socially we are improving something. We are improving healthcare. So this is the basic architecture. I've shown like Salesforce and Salesforce. These are like CRMs I'm trying to identify. And there's MongoDB database of different hospitals. MongoDB basically is a different kind, like different hospitals can have different style of data structures. So I can like have a NoSQL database. Then there is I look at that my engine will be, which is powered by these sponsors, and I'm having a deep learning engine to identify, like, group the cancer cases around the world, or any surgeries, let's say. And then there are people, doctors across India, US, collaborating on the same engine. So it's the demo time, and like I set up some guys as our surgeon, Alan, Sachin, Alex is there, and another guy there. So I log in as Alan. He's a neurosurgeon. So okay, so he's a neurosurgeon, and like he's having a surgery of some guy, and there's a cancer in it. It is having a similarity with these two cases, and let's say there's a doctor sitting there. Okay, someone like being creative here. Okay, so I will join a call where Sachin is talking to Alex, and I forgot the name of the guy. Sorry, man.
Josh.
1 minute.
Josh. So these guys are online and they're talking about the surgery, and these are the 4 guys. They're talking live. Now I request Sachin to add something on the screen. So he's saying, okay, why don't you cut that tumor like this? And Alex will say, and Josh will say like this. So they can say, okay, they can mess the surgery. So what I was trying to do, which I was not able to achieve, is I want to have accelerate here, and then it could be more informative. Later on, you can add a virtual reality here, where you could imagine a brain moving around in a 3D space, and oh, let's cut it like this, or let's cut it like this. So this could be an interface for doctors to, like a whiteboard for doctors, you could say. And
Clearly
so,
from our drawings, we're not doctors.
so secondly, like you can, oh, I missed something like. So here's the share button, and I'm like trying to get, okay, this was the surgery performed some guy in India, so I can fax the details of the patient in US to that guy. And
That's it.
okay. And I send the messages to these guys to come to the meeting. So like using test stats, and yeah, these are my sponsors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that's great. Excellent. Well done. Good demo.
Good question.
Any questions?
Dr. Allen, any question? No.
I just told John I'm not operating. It's inoperable. It's just been there too long. Okay. No, we have 2 more. Here. We're going down, guys.
These are excellent.
Well, we get charged for 4 doctors instead of 1.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it's a reduced rate because it was done online. They didn't have to fly.
Again, don't worry, just get yourself set up, make sure everything's working, and then start. So let us know when you're about to start. Okay.
Alright guys, my name is Pratik, this is my partner Yanni and Lucas, and today our sponsor that we're using is TADHack, and so we just want to go through kind of the problem we tackled yesterday. We spent a lot of time trying to think about the problem, probably around half the day on the problem, and what we came up with is that we figured out that small businesses around Chicago are spending over $70 per month for at least 1 inbound line, and they require additional telephony hardware, such as VoIP phones and stuff like that. And we think that small businesses want to cut costs. They don't have extra revenue to spend on telephony hardware and a lot of these other costs. So we want to make it as simple as downloading an app. We all know that it's easy to download an app. And we also think that the barrier to start a new business is difficult with all these extra costs. So that's the problem we wanted to tackle. And so we came up with Project Sapphire Network. This name is from a random generator online, but it happened to work with our project. Powered by TADHack. And so we looked at TADHack and we really liked their idea of making be your own carrier. And so we kind of tried to bring that to small businesses. And so what we want to do is allow small businesses to manage inbound and outbound numbers through a mobile application without any additional
hardware, so they wouldn't have to buy any of those extra phones. So how do we do this? So we created an app. We tried to create an app called Project Sapphire Network. The owner/manager would sign up, log in. They have a list of numbers they can choose from, which would be assigned to their business particularly, and they're able to add employees to their network, and so their employees are able to get the phone calls that people dial into that. And so we want to use existing infrastructure. If almost everybody has cell phones, we feel like we can utilize that. We should be able to utilize their cell phones and still be able to give employees the work-life balance that they need. So by dialing into a toll-free number that belongs to a business, it rings all employees that need to be alerted of a phone call during that time. Their app starts to ring, and so Yanni's going to go over value proposition.
So why does this help us? As you can see, it uses dynamic routing, which means that if the employee is at work, the phone will ring. Otherwise, it will not. So it will not alert them during their off time, at the middle of the night, stuff like that. We're using, as Pratik said, we're using existing cell phone infrastructure, so that completely cuts out extra hardware that the small business owner needs to buy to get started, and it increases the chances of actually someone picking up instead of going to voicemail or getting that annoying message that says, "Please call back later." Another thing we feel it's very important. It's scalable, as in you can buy numbers with literally a click of a button, and you'll get 1, 2, 3, 40, 50 numbers if you need them to. And it has redundancy by failover through the PSN.
Yeah, so if they were out of Wi-Fi service, if an employee was outside the Wi-Fi service, or they were outside the cellular service, and we tried to attempt to call the employee through the app, we weren't able to reach them, we were able to use a PSTN and try to dial out to their regular cell phone.
And we actually talked to a few businesses across the street and in Chinatown. Yesterday we went and interviewed them, and the most shocking, I guess, was a Korean beauty store in Chinatown pays $160 for 2 lines, and they estimated around 2 hours of monthly usage of those lines. So if we can cut down costs on that, that'll be great. Another, across the street, a pizzeria called Miller's Pizza, they pay $90 for phone, internet, and TV. And another, most people use either AT&T or other carriers, but another thing that we found interesting was that they all use fax. So that's definitely something to look into.
Okay, that's it. Time's up.
That's it.
Thank you.
Any questions?
It sounds as though that, so correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds as though that you're reducing costs by pushing that to your employees by using their data plan instead of the company.
Well, it's using the application that the small business owner has signed up for. So we'd be sending out using the internet instead of using any sort of plan.
No, let's do.
Wi-Fi.
It's not a good idea. Yeah.
That's kind of creepy. So I guess we're out of time. We couldn't go. Okay.
Did you have a demo of it? Did you make it?
Short demo. We didn't get very far, but
Go on. It's your penultimate. Now, Eclipse, you're going to do the presentation?
It's going to be real quick.
That's
So
great.
I have
The last one, being really quick.
So we had a single UI for the app. Actually, this is website now.
Why?
So we
Because
get all the
they don't.
information like numbers, stuff, and this is a list of numbers we bought. And then we can add a 40 number in here and transfer the cost. Now we got a login info.
Instead of just.
Yeah.
that's it. So-
Great, excellent, thanks so much, guys.
But if you were doing a startup, then everybody would probably be happy with, because everybody pays for a lot of things in a startup. So they're just gonna take it from, they just gain the centralized.
And just show from here.
This is color code.
So I don't have a presentation trying to troubleshoot a lot of stuff, but
Yeah, turn around and speak to your crowd.
Well, she's just setting up what
She
the-
said,
You haven't
yeah.
started yet.
She hasn't started.
She's just setting up.
so what we tried to do was.
Let me know when you're gonna start.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm starting right now.
Okay.
What we were trying to do was to kind of create an alternative where Facebook have a secure way for you to be able to connect with your friends and families and not be worried about your privacy. And the reason why I was attracted to it was the idea of cybersecurity and being able to secure that. But the more that we got into trying to tackle the project, the more we discovered that the minimal viable product was more minimal and less viable. So we had to downgrade what we're doing, so it ended up getting down to just trying to do a messaging app and trying to secure it that way. But we ran into some problems. So what I'm going to demo is just going to be kind of I guess the interface part of it. We tried to use Matrix, and it was just trying to be able to communicate and figure out how to do that when the reps weren't here. It was a little bit difficult. So this is just a video of what we have presentation-wise, and that's just the e-user interface. And this is just a sign-up. And he's just demonstrating bcrypt, which is one of the technologies that we use to kind of secure registration and logins for the users. And he's trying to demonstrate the hash passwords that we're using for that. This is the page that we would normally have, where we could actually kind of message each other once you get past the login. That's invalid. That was it. Questions? We had a lot of problems. If you want to know about problems, I'll tell you about that.
But I think this is a great example of Matrix in enabling people to create private, secure communities. So I think it's a great use case for Matrix, so thanks for doing that. Any questions?
Yeah, I'd say, if you could roll back the clock, what, are there a couple takeaway points that you would do differently in approaching this, and has it changed your,
Yeah, couple of the problems that we had was, I work on Linux, everyone else was working on Mac, so I was just trying to figure out the technologies that we could kind of communicate together with. We also had a member who knew PHP, so he kind of created that part of the project, but he wasn't here, and so are my name is Tweet, and my other team members aren't here either. Mayuresh, Chantel, and Jasmine. So that was another part of trying to figure out how to do this when all the members are not present, to actually be able to communicate what's going on with this stuff.
We need some sort of communication with video collab app. Like a real
You know what? It's up on GitHub.
Developers.
So a video plugin for GitHub. Got
But yeah, it was definitely communicating. You have like different technologies where one person did PHP, I kind of knew JavaScript and Ruby and a little Java. But I didn't know PHP enough to be able to figure out his code that he was sending to me. And then, yeah, other team members knew bits and pieces of stuff. So trying to get that all to come together was interesting.
Well, it sounds like it was an experience.
So I'm just curious real quick. I didn't understand, were you trying to use your own cryptography, or was that what Matrix was being used for, or how were you?
The cryptography part was just like that didn't have anything to do with it. The main part was being able to use Matrix and being able to have a way to communicate and have that encrypted and not worry about like anybody
Cool.
listening
Yep.
in
All
on
right.
it.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's it. I think all the pictures are done. Have we missed anyone? Good. That's always that embarrassing. We're done. And it's just, wait.